Once again, I'm your host, Earl Ofari Hutchinson, on the Hutchinson Report. You know, we talk about a lot of different things, news, commentary, issues, and I do believe if everything goes according to the plan, as you well know, Gloria, a big issue this week. As a matter of fact, it's been a big issue the last 2 weeks. University of California, San Diego, the Compton Cookout. Compton Cookout, for those that didn't know, is this. Bunch of students at UC San Diego got the bright idea to do another bonehead stunt. What did they do? They went on Urban Dictionary and they found what, of course, the B's, the H's, the N's, and all of that, you know, all these so-called descriptions of black life, life in the hood. They got the idea, a stunt, to go down there and have what they call the Compton Cookout. Well, needless to say, it created a storm, as it well should, of protest. You had demonstrations, you had marches, you had the university saying, how dare you do this? Mary Ann Fox, by the way, the UC chancellor, we contacted her office, sent her a letter the other day and said, by the way, it's one thing to condemn, it's another thing to take disciplinary action against the students. Did you do that? We're still waiting for a response from Ms. Fox. Teaching a couple of days ago, by the way, black students walked out on it. They said, no, this is a sham, this is a farce, we're having nothing to do with it. Comes down to one thing: discipline, sending a message, strong message. Bigotry, intolerance, insensitivity, insults, demeaning will not, it just never ends. So we are pleased to have, Associated Students President's got to get it all right because it just came together a few minutes ago. So just trying to give a little background to listeners out there who may not know about it. Good morning, how are you, sir?
Thanks for having me. Doing fine.
Okay, very good. A couple of quick questions. We tried to set the stage a little bit for our listeners out there who do not know or hadn't heard about what happened at UC San Diego. I think now up in the LA area, most people are pretty familiar with it. But my understanding is that the UC San Diego student government temporarily shut down the campus TV station after some, let's just be charitable, some racially inappropriate comments or statements or programming was made. Was that the case?
Right. That is exactly the case. We've had a controversial student organization here at UC San Diego for quite some time now. They're called the Koala. They have a print publication, and they also apparently have a TV show on our student-run television, which is supported by our student fees. When I heard about the incident, called the station manager immediately. He went in there and had a change of topic in the show. But the next morning we instituted a review and found that that program was not authorized at all to be on our student-run TV. And so I shut down the station until we could review and make sure that we don't get that sort of content on something that students are funding.
Now, so the station, so we can understand this, the station actually gets funding from the Associated Student Body. Is that the way it works? Do they get exclusive funding from you? Or are there other funding sources?
No, they get exclusive funding from the Associated Students. It's one of our services we provide the student body.
My understanding is there's 16 or so other media outlets. Who are they?
Right. So we also fund alternative media on the campus. Through media student organizations. So we, the Koala, again, is a print publication, and it's been essentially terrorizing this campus for the past 10 years. This is a publication that makes fun of student death in the paper, even by name. We had an incident earlier this year where one of our athletes died in a really tragic accident, and they mocked his death, and his family found out about it. And when you Google his name, the article from the Koala is what comes up, and that's not how he wants to be remembered by. That's not how his family wants to be remembered by. And they always make very, I believe, some would call it hate speech.
Yes.
They write hate speech in their newspaper, and that's not something that I believe institutionally our association should support.
Now, let me ask this question, Mr. Gupta. How much money are we talking about? What is the funding total for the UC San Diego campus TV station, just to put it in perspective?
Sure. We fund the TV station about $11,000 to $12,000 a year.
Okay. Now, the range of the TV station, is that on the campus or how far off the campus?
Oh, no, the TV station's right on campus in our student center.
Now, you were criticized, and the associated students were criticized. Essentially, it came down to one thing. You mentioned before, hate speech. Well, there's always a fine line, as you know. Hate speech and free speech.
Right.
First Amendment's a powerful
Right.
shield. Criticism that you got, the big knock is, how dare you do this? Look, we have the right to free speech. We have the right, uncensored, to say exactly what we want. My understanding, though, your position is that may be true, but not on the university's dime.
Right. I mean, that's exactly my point. You have a right to free speech. You have a right to say what you want. But I don't see a reason why our student association has to support your free speech with everybody's money.
Okay, now, one other area that caught my eye, too, about not only the suspension, or excuse me, the suspension of funding for the station, but also revoking its charter. That came up, too. Is that an issue or a possibility?
Right, so, sure. I mean, before we put the station back on the air, we're doing a complete review of the charter. We're going to rewrite it from scratch and make sure that, you know, we don't have, we have shows that air on there that supports the Associated Students' mission.
So now, at this point in time, the station is not broadcasting, is that correct?
No, it is not broadcasting.
Okay, so
we're in the review process, and we're also redrafting the rules right now. We're working as fast as possible. I mean, we understand that it's important to have, you know, a campus TV station that is student-run, and we're just asking for patience from the student body. Let us bring back the station right. And I mean, I expect it to be back up maybe in the next week or so. I mean, one thing we want to make sure is that all content that is aired on the station is authorized by the station managers that we hire to run the station, because any viewpoints that are expressed in the station are essentially the Associated Students' viewpoints.
all right, Mr. Gupta, I really appreciate you taking the time talking to the Hutchinson Report. We certainly appreciate that, and hopefully we can come back and keep getting updates from you. Thanks again. Chef K, now, as always, as you know, we are going, by the way, for all of our very devout people, this is the Lenten season. And as you know, during Lent, many people make vows about fasting, about doing many other things, always health conscious. So Chef K, keep us healthy. What should we be thinking about? What should we be doing this week?
What we should be thinking about, good morning or good evening listeners, is a healthy mindset. To keep your mind focused on being healthy, that's the most important. But however, this morning the main health tip for the week, I want to remind you that I mentioned several weeks back, almond milk. If you could consider not having cow milk, because that's for the calf. And in cow milk there's mucus, there's blood, urine, and pus from the cow, because the facility where the cow is, they're constantly leaving it hooked up to the plastic tubing. Also, soy milk, please try to avoid that, because for males it lowers your testosterone level and it raises your estrogen level, and for women it coats your female organs with the plastic coating, eventually possibly suffocating them and having to have hysterectomy. So,
Chef, go ahead.
Almond milk is what we really, really want to enforce and encourage you to have each time that you may have coffee, which is not really good for you, but cereal or anything, almond milk. The children or yourself can take 21 raw natural almonds to a cup of water. You can double, triple that up to, depending on how much you like. And you put it in the blender and blend it, liquefy, and you got milk.
All right,
it's
Chef
good
K,
for you.
thank you very much. And most importantly, the listening audience out there through the Hutchinson Report, thank you very much. As we always say, stay strong, stay positive, and most important, stay independent.